When the Mittler Rebbe was 16 years old, his father appointed him to be a mashpia, and he would encourage the Hasidim to get together and have informal farbrengens, talk to one another, and encourage each other to grow in their spiritual path. And he said that when two Jews get together, you have two godly souls versus one animal soul. And I wanted to talk about that really, really profound, a powerful statement. And so, what does it really mean? How do we use it? How do we use this power of two godly souls coming together to challenge one animal soul? So the explanation is simple, and then I will try to bring it down into practical daily life. The animal soul only thinks about itself. It is animalistic by nature, and by nature it's only worried about survival and taking care of itself. And so any other animal that it sees poses a threat to its survival. If we're all competing for the same piece of meat, then we can't join together. That's the animal soul. It remains separate. The godly soul is godly. It is a true place that has no fear. There's no competition. It's a person's center, and in that place, we're actually all united and we're all one. It's all godly. And so when we come together, my godly soul and your godly soul team up. They're not fighting with each other. They see each other as the same. It's oneness. There's a oneness there. So now I have my godly soul and your godly soul come together, and together we can each fight each other's animal soul, my godly soul and your godly soul versus my animal soul, and then your godly soul and my godly soul versus your animal soul, because the animal souls remain separate, and so the odds are against them because they're fighting now with two godly souls, versus if they would come together, then it would be an even fight. So what does that really mean in our day-to-day life? Well, like we said, the animal soul, it's just animalistic. It's instinctive, and its whole purpose is to survive. And survival instincts come with a lot. You see many things posed as a threat. You're constantly looking out, watching your back, and protecting yourself. And that is pretty much what the ego does. It protects us. It's protection. If I see someone coming and wants to, knock me down or call me out or whatever, I have to protect myself. Now, by doing that, I am automatically separating. I'm creating separation. I'm fighting for myself. I'm in it on my own. So, if we are in a relationship, let's use a marriage relationship, and one partner is experiencing they're experiencing some defensiveness. They feel that they're being attacked by the other partner. The other partner says, I need this from you. You're not giving it to me. And the partner that here's oh no, I'm not good enough. I'm bad. Now they're gonna put up some defenses and say, what do you mean? I do. I give you this. I give you that. And now we have the partner A, whose whole complaining is actually coming from their ego. They're looking out for themselves and saying, hey, I'm not getting something from you. I need you to give me this. Who needs that? Who needs that? That's going to be the animal soul. It needs something. The godly soul is always content. It's always perfectly centered and connected. It's not looking. It doesn't have survival instincts because it doesn't begin and end. It's not going to end one day, so it doesn't have to survive. It's constant. The animal soul feels like it's gonna, it's in survival mode, so it's fighting for something. And partner B feels threatened by that. Who feels threatened? It's their ego, and their animal soul is saying, "What do you mean? I do. Who's I? Not the godly soul." The godly soul doesn't have an I. It's the animal soul now coming online and saying, what do you mean? And now my animal soul and her animal soul, or whatever the partnership is, are now having a conflict. So if we can take a deep breath and separate ourselves from the animal soul, recognize what's happening here, and say, oh, when that partner comes to me and says they need something, that's not coming from their godly soul, that's their animal soul. Let's recognize that, and we don't have to defend it now. We don't have to defend ourselves and now have a conflict between the animal souls. I can say, oh, I see your fear, and yet you're afraid of something. I see that. It makes sense. And that gives the first partner the space to also separate themselves from the fear and realize, oh, I have this fear. This isn't me. This is my animal soul who's in survival mode and is afraid of something. And now the two partners connect from their godly soul, from their center, and they say, oh, we see that fear, and together we will hold space for it. And we don't have to fight with it. It's just an animal trying to protect itself. But as soon as we can recognize it, now we've become two godly souls joined together who are always connected. And we're not going to we're not going to become separated. We never really become separated. It's only our animal souls that are actually separated from one another and fighting with each other, trying to be right and stay alive. But our godly souls have always been connected. And so if we can return to our center, to our godly soul, and connect there, where we're always connected, now it becomes you and I versus that animalistic instinct, whatever it may be. Whether it's fear, anxiety, some complaints, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's always going to be two against one, because our godly souls, they don't have any conflict. They're always connected. And then it's the power of two versus one. Chances are you're going to overcome it together, because two is stronger than one. Hope you enjoyed this message. Chaim ul bracha.